Hi students, it is I again, your favorite teacher, and I hope that you're doing very well, and I hope I am too by this time. Don't forget that I should return on October 6th, so I'll see you in person. God willing, the creeks don't rise. I'll be here back with you in classroom on October 6th. And now we're going to talk about our 5th lecture for my absence, and we only have 5 more to go. Don't forget that your first exam that ended with the Romans is on September 17. September 17. Your exam number 2 that covers the Dark Ages through Romanticism is on October 22. So exam number 2 occurs on October 22. Okay? Today we're going to talk about a Frenchman, and he was kind of a wild and crazy guy. He is named Francois Rabelais. Francois is spelled F-R-A-N-C-O-I-S, and Rabelais is spelled R-A-B-L-A-I-S. R-A-B-E-L-A-I-S. Francois Rabelais. Francois was born in 1492, and he died, 1494, and he died 1553. He died 1553, okay? Again, he's a Frenchman, and he had a very wealthy family, had an indulged childhood. His parents and his family pampered him and indulged him and spoiled him. And he, even in his lifetime, was considered a genius. And critics say that his literature captures the spirit of the Renaissance better than any other author's work. Rabelais captures the spirit of the Renaissance better than anybody else who wrote during the Renaissance. Now, that's quite a statement, because there's a lot of stuff being written during the Renaissance time. He saw a lot of changes going on in the world, and we've talked about some of those before when I kind of gave you an overview of the Renaissance. The invention of the printing press. That's pretty cool. He was there with this, in the Renaissance time, with this new interest in art, this new revitalization of literature, of theater. The New World was discovered during his lifetime. So he sees the world shrink and yet get bigger in regard to the arts, more varied, you know what I mean? He was a creative kind of guy, and it got him in trouble. Excuse me. His main piece of literature that he wrote, and he wrote many editions of this work, so there are lots of titles, there are like 7 editions of Gargantua and Pantagruel. One title, Gargantua and Pantagruel. Gargantua, G-A-R-G-A-N-T-U-A. Gargantua and Pantagruel. P-A-N-T-A-G-R-U-E-L. P-A-N-T-G-R-U-E-L. It's all one title. Gargantua and Pantagruel. Because Rabelais was kind of a smart guy and pretty much educated, he knew a lot. He was an avid reader. And as he was growing up, he would read French folk tales and fairy tales and wives' tales. You know how those are just kind of bantered around from generation to generation. Well, he decided to capitalize on those folk tales of France, and he wrote Gargantua and Pantagruel as a result. Gargantua and Pantagruel are the main characters in this book, and it's a book, a piece of prose fiction. Gargantua and Pantagruel are giants, literally giants, 12 feet tall and 689 pounds, big men. And they are to represent men of the Renaissance, who are to be voracious and read everything they can, and learn everything they can, and create everything they can, to take in the world, to absorb knowledge, to indulge themselves, to live larger than life. So Gargantua and Pantagruel, these two giants, are symbolic of people of the Renaissance. To illustrate that, Gargantua, the dad, has a son, Pantagruel. Okay? And Pantagruel, when he is born of his giant mom, the first thing he says when he pops out of the womb is, "Drink!" Not necessarily alcohol or soda pop, but to drink in life, to learn all you can, experience everything you can. I want more, more, more. I want to know it all. Drink, absorb, learn. And that's what he and his old man do. They go gallivanting off on the French countryside, meeting peasants and wealthy people, and they're just like a couple of junior high boys. They fart in public. They get drunk on the weekend and then go to church. They write graffiti on stuff. They have scatological humor. Who knows what scatological means? S-C-A-T-A-L-O-G-I-C-A-L. Yeah. Scatological is bathroom humor. Okay? So they have, they tell jokes about sex. They tell jokes about body parts. It's just really pretty ribald and sexy and kind of, not for mixed company what they say and talk about. And they're kind of destructive. People love this book because it's about these two crazy giants. Truly fiction, based on these old folk tales about giants in France. People love it, and I mean this book sells like hotcakes. Okay? Everybody has a copy. The King of France buys a zillion copies and gives them out as gifts. Okay? He loves this book. Well, the Pope finally gets a copy of this book. And the Pope says, "Holy smoke! This book is not fit for human consumption. It's too dirty. There's bad language. There's unprotected sex. I mean, there's everything going. People getting drunk and rolling around with the pigs." It's a hilarious book, but the Pope doesn't like it. It's not reflective of Catholicism and Catholics and what the Church stands for. It's kind of like the church lady, you know what I mean? So the Pope condemns the book and orders that Gargantua and Pantagruel be burned. By golly, burn them all. Except he didn't burn his copy. He found a lot of them, but he didn't burn his own personal copy. He liked it, but still, it was a dirty book. Okay? No, can't read it. The King of France, following the Pope's lead, charges Rabelais with outraging public decency. Okay? We can't have this kind of literature on the streets of France. It's beneath humanness. It's too dirty. It's too ribald. Rabelais scared to death. The King of France orders him to be captured, put on trial, and either killed or put in jail. That's how serious the reputation of this book has become. Ordinary people, decent people, don't read this kind of stuff. So Rabelais went into hiding. He went into hiding. He was scared for his life. He was quite the liberal. Okay? He wasn't too crazy about the Pope or the King of France, so he didn't care who he insulted, you know what I mean? So while he's in hiding, he's writing the second edition of Gargantua and Pantagruel. He gets it published secretly. He sells it kind of underground, you know, beneath the table, you know, on street corners. It ain't no bookstore, okay? So he's still making a fortune on Pantagruel, or Gargantua and Pantagruel too, because everybody loved one, and they want to know what these giants are doing next, okay? The Pope buys the second edition too. Okay? He is put in jail for a little while. They do capture him. He eventually joins a monastery, becomes a Franciscan, a monk, and he becomes a doctor and mentors sick people at Franciscan monastery hospitals. He spends a lot of time with the sick and the ill, and as he is a monk, he also is able to resume studying. You know, studying books, knowledge, it just wasn't far off his radar. And so he finally found in 1533, since he joined the monastery and said he kind of, you know, calmed down his life and he wouldn't write any more books like this, sorry Pope, sorry King, they let him go. He was no longer a wanted man, okay? Well, he was still writing editions anyway. But in the meantime, he found a patron, like Maecenas was a patron to Virgil and Horace. This patron was named Jean du Bellay. I don't care if you know his name, big deal. And he supported him. Rabelais left the priesthood to resume writing. Enough time had passed, people kind of settled down about the splash that this book had made. And so then he wrote more versions of Gargantua and Pantagruel. By this time, people were kind of used to it. You know, time passes, society matures a little bit. It's not as bad as you think. People love it. So what's a big freaking deal? You know, let him alone. And so he was left alone, and his entire reputation rests on the versions of Gargantua and Pantagruel that he wrote. Eventually, in 1535, the Pope grants him pardon for his offense against the church and Catholicism by writing this dirty book. He wrote up to 7 editions of this. The books are really easy to read, but they're kind of hard to interpret. Like, what's the symbolism of this sometimes? There's really no plot. It's very episodic. In other words, Gargantua and his son Pantagruel go from town to town, forest to forest, village to village, house to house. There's no real plot, no one series of events that lead to a culmination, a climax, and the ending of the story. It's just kind of one thing after another. It's not really connected very well. There's no real theme to it all, except that Renaissance people loved to learn and experience and do and expand their horizons, to become giants themselves. It is obscene, but not any worse off than Ovid's The Art of Love was back in 1 ACE, back in Rome. And so critics have called Rabelais' work carnival-like, like a carnival, filled with color, filled with senses, filled with energy, filled with surprises here and there, wild color, lots of movement. Like going to a carnival, you know, you never can tell when a clown's going to pop out at you next, or what barker's going to holler at you next to throw a ring over the bottle of the, or the neck of the bottle. So it's very colorful, kind of discordant, so people have called it carnivalesque, carnival-like. He pokes fun at things in his giants love to have fun. You know, they eat and drink and sleep around and sleep late and experiment with things. So it's just a book of fun, but it's also kind of obscene. And anything since Rabelais' time that has been obscene, colorful, fun, has been, how do you say this? Rabelaisian. Rabelaisian. Combination of unexpected, wild things, fun things, gratification, sexual activity, kind of body and obscene, but fun to read, has been called Rabelaisian. So we have Rabelais as an important French author of the early days of the Renaissance. Thank you very much.